Today we're going to work on a fall container refresh, but not in the way that you might be thinking. And I'm going to share with you a new variety of fancy pansies. Hi, it's Steph. Welcome back to my garden. This year, I'm taking a different approach with my fall containers, and I'm calling it addition by subtraction. I decided that I didn't want to spend money on any fall annuals this year, but instead, I would go through my containers and remove any of the plants that have now had it and are not looking their best at the end of the season, and just leave in the containers what still looks okay to finish out the fall. In this container, you can see that my coleus has pretty much had it. It has started to drop so many leaves and is making quite a mess here on my patio. Now, this was gorgeous when it was in its prime just a few weeks ago. It's the Color Blaze Golden Dreams Coleus. Really beautiful variety, but it is just decided that it is done for now. And I'm going to leave the other plants in here to pick up the show. So I'm going to use my Hori Hori, which is a garden knife, a multi-use tool, which is excellent for this purpose, to cut out the root ball on this coleus. And we're gonna see what things look like. See, this tool makes quick work of this. If you don't have a Hori Hori yet, I highly recommend it. And this is the one that I reach for the most. It is my Vigo Hori Hori. It has a serrated edge, a straight edge, and also measurements on it. So if you're planting bulbs this fall, it will tell you how deep your hole is to place your bulbs. So really helpful tool in the garden. I think it's already looking better. Now, this is the Graceful Grasses Queen Tut. I keep this stack of tags in my container so that if there's something that I liked that year, I will have it for reference and to repeat in future years. And so this Queen Tut, I'm just gonna trim some of these back just to kind of even things out and make it look better. About a month ago or so, I had planted a nasturtium in here. You can see that this nasturtium is growing really well. This side was getting shaded by the coleus, so it's not doing quite as well. But it is the Black Velvet Nasturtium. I had picked up the seeds from Baker Creek, and I started them back in July. And about mid-August or so, 4 weeks in, I had planted them here to fill out these corners when my petunias weren't doing so well. This is the Saffron Finch Petunia, and they didn't perform too great for me. I had to cut them back a couple of times. They got budworms, and so when I put the nasturtiums in, the purpose was to see if they would pick up the show, and then if these continue to do badly, I would remove them. But now that it's fall, the petunias are doing great because petunias like cool temperatures. So I'm going to leave them in there. The nasturtiums are a burgundy color, so if they start to bloom, I think this will look really pretty. So the next thing I'm going to do is fertilize these containers. Now that there's more room in there and more light, I hope that my nasturtiums really start to pick up, and I think a little bit of fertilizer will help that along. These containers here behind my outside couch still look really good, but this coleus again is starting to drop a bunch of leaves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to pop in these nasturtiums that I also started in mid-July, but hadn't decided where I would put them, and I'm going to add them in this area. They are a beautiful like orangey color, so I think that they will still go really well with the colors of the other annuals in this area. Coleus that I had growing in the planter is gorgeous. This is the El Brido. It was stunning all season long. It looked really beautiful with this dark foliage of the jet black Sweet Caroline sweet potato vine. But now it just started to drop its foliage. It was just done. So I popped in this Alaskan salmon nasturtium, and I grew this variety a couple of seasons ago in my front porch planters for a fall display. They were so beautiful. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way these containers back here are still looking. This dark colored coleus is still doing really well and not dropping any foliage. It is the noir variety. Really pretty, deep, dark foliage. I do have the tag, so let me show you. Color Blaze Newly Noir is what this dark colored one is. It's really pretty, as are these double vintage amber super bells or calibrachoa. This new sweet potato vine that's coming out for 2026, the Medusa, is gorgeous and so vigorous. I have a fireworks grass in the center and some of the double vintage coral super bells here as well. I did have to treat them for budworms recently, but they are much better now and starting to pump out blooms for the fall, which is lovely. And a new variety of Bidens. I have the Campfire Marshmallow White that I'm growing in this bed here, my patio bed. And this variety is the Campfire Red Embers. Red Ember. It has an orangey color. Very pretty. These look like tiny cosmos to me, and I really like them. I love the way it looks with my blue planter. Here's the Campfire Marshmallow Bidens that I have along the front of this border. I absolutely love it, and I will certainly be repeating this next year. The pollinators love it as well. And it is just loaded with blooms all the time, and I don't have to do anything to it. These are the nasturtiums that I grew from seed and I planted here in this planter. I'm hopeful that we'll still get a few blooms because I think that this color will look really pretty with the sky blue lobelia and these yellow petunias. I have one more nasturtium that I grew from seed called Yeti that I'm going to pop right here in front of this new 2026 variety of Agastache. It's called the Maestro Coral, and this was one of the few annuals that I had received from Proven Winners to trial for next year's release. And so it has done really well for me, and I think that this yellow nasturtium would look really pretty with this coral color. So we'll see how that does. This planter here by my back stairs is still looking really good. Has a Sunpatian, some of the Queen Tut graceful grasses, and the Laguna sky blue lobelia. And an absolute rock star trailer is also the Mizzou. Second year growing it, loved it last year, grew it again this year, and it's performing equally well. It is a beauty. And talking about rock star trailers, look at this helichrysum, also known as the licorice plant. This is one plant. Can you believe that? And I absolutely love growing the purple fountain grass for the same reason. It transitions so beautifully from summer through fall. And look at these other two. They are huge. And you can see that my front porch has been completely transformed to Halloween decor. I have a 12-year-old son who gets really excited about the holidays, and I know that we only have a couple more years of that happening, so I let him have at it. Plus, he spent his own money on these things, so he got really excited to decorate this past weekend. And what I decided was that I was just going to clean up these planters, and because I had bought quite a few annuals this year, I'm going to just let these run their course. This coleus still looks absolutely gorgeous. This is the Torchlight Color Blaze coleus. It is so beautiful, as does the purple fountain grasses. This is why I love purple fountain grass so much. They really are such a rock star. They transition so well from summer through fall. And the petunias are also bouncing back now with the cooler weather. This is the Vista Paradise. But the sweet potato vine, this is the Sweetheart Lime sweet potato vine, is looking okay on this side, but on this side, it's on its way out. So I'm going to remove both of them to even things out. And I think that this will look really pretty on the front porch to carry us through the rest of the season. And if you've ever wondered whether or not sweet potato vines actually produce sweet potatoes, they sure do. Look at this mammoth potato that was in my container. So you can see that just by removing those sweet potato vines, this container instantly looks better. So if you have planters that maybe you started this spring that are looking a little tired, see if there's anything you can edit out of it. Something that you can remove that will instantly improve the appearance of your container. And that way, if you choose not to buy any annuals for fall, you'll still have something pretty to look at for a little bit longer. Let's look at these new pansies that I got in the mail recently, and they are a beautifully ruffled variety. And I'm calling them the fancy pansies, but they're actually called the elegance pansies. And these were bred by a man called Mr. Sato, who did an internship at Tagawa greenhouses back in the 80s, spent some time there, went back to Japan, and spent the last 15 years cultivating and perfecting these beautiful pansies that you see here. So last year in 2025, he reached back out to the Tagawa greenhouses and he said, hey, these pansies are ready. And now they are ready to hit the market in 2026. So if you love a pansy, I love a pansy, you might want to check with your nurseries and greenhouses if they will be carrying the Elegance line of pansies next spring. So the Elegance pansies have two different collections. There is the Twilight collection, which are different moody colors of rich blues, reds, wines, and whites. And then there is the Antoinette collection, which has charming pastels of yellow, pink, white, and apricot. They're gorgeous. I'm going to give you some close-ups of these blooms for you to take a look at them. So these have a medium mounded habit. They like full sun or part sun, and they're only 6 to 8 inches in height, and they spread 8 to 10 inches in width. And they're hardy down to negative 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So in some areas, if you plant these in the fall and you have a mild winter, they might come back for you in spring. And if you plant them in spring and you can keep them alive through the hottest part of summer by putting them in a shady area and keep watering them, they will sometimes start reblooming in the fall. So these are plants that, depending on the temperatures, you can sometimes get 2 seasons out of them. So I'm not sure where I'm going to plant these pansies yet. I'm either going to put them in a container or I'm going to plant them in ground and see how they perform for me over the next couple of months. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. But if you have even an evergreen in a container, which will provide you with year-round interest, and you underplant them with some annuals like pansies, it looks really pretty. These also look gorgeous in a container with a tall grass in the center and a trailer down the front, something like the helichrysum that I showed you earlier that I have growing in some of my planters. So lots of options when it comes to combining pansies and containers. And let me know if you've heard about these elegance pansies and what your thoughts are on what I'm calling the ruffled fancy pansy. These limelight hydrangeas, these are my little limes. They're looking so beautiful right now as we head into fall. We are actually officially in fall, so happy fall, friends. And I've been thinking about cutting some of these blooms to bring in the house. So last year I cut some hydrangeas to dry out, and the water evaporated really quickly from my vase and they ended up going all brown and I lost the cuttings. So I'm gonna try to dry these again, and my goal is to retain this beautiful pink color. So let me know if you have any tips on drying hydrangeas inside and for them to keep this beautiful coloration that they currently have. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.